everyone. It's a pleasure to be on with you this Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I know it's different times all over the world. And as you're popping on, if you can hear me and see me okay, please type a Y or a yes in the comments. I want to make sure that everybody is listening and or seeing me and hearing me okay, because I have some interesting insights to share today. So go ahead and do that. Pop in there and give me a Y or a yes if you can hear me and see me okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I appreciate that. So today we're going to be talking about what we're going to do here as we end 2023 with some grace and forgiveness. And we all have, every year, I find I have regrets of things that I didn't accomplish that I wanted to. And I'm sad to report for me personally that I really never clearly defined my goals that I wanted to accomplish this year. I thought about them. I had some nebulous ones. I knew I had some goals in business that I wanted to do, but defining them specifically and critically and step by step, the action steps it took to get those, I didn't do that. So that's one of my regrets. Secondly, one of the things that I'm leaving behind is some anger and some issues that I had with my parents. And until a year and a half ago, when I started writing my book that chronicles growing up in a pretty dysfunctional family. I know you don't hear that term much anymore, but it was pretty dysfunctional. And one of the things that my wife asked me back in March of this year, as we were discussing the culmination of the book, and she asked me a very poignant question. And the question was, have you ever really forgiven your parents? And I hated to admit to her that at almost 70 years old or young, I had not done that. But I have now. So that's one of the things that I'm leaving behind is the issues and anger that I might have harbored towards my parents and some of the things that I witnessed and lived through, and as a result of growing up there. And we can't choose our parents, but we can choose to accept them where they are, because now I realize through my forgiveness process that it's healed me, not only emotionally, but once I went through about a month's worth of forgiveness exercise with the help of an NLP practitioner, my blood pressure actually dropped dramatically. And the feeling of stress that I carried with me daily is gone. So I'm leaving that behind, never to revisit it. So there may be some things that you may be leaving behind as well. So first things that I'd like to share with everybody and recommend that we all take time for self-reflection. So if you have already done this, or you plan on doing it before midnight Sunday night, when we turn over into 2024 for Monday, put an okay in the comments if you've done that. Hey, welcome, Janice. Hopefully you're staying warm up there in Canada today. It's a pleasure to, as always, to have you support my lives. So if anyone already has taken the time to sit down and do some self-reflection, let me recommend that. If you haven't done it yet, block 2 hours, 3, as much as your schedule will permit or you will allow, and just think about where you're at right now with your life and what you're doing with it. Now, if you'd like a little help, and you can't do this one in just a few hours, this one might take a month. But if you'd like to learn how to really analyze where you're at, I'm going to recommend this book, Self Matters by Dr. Phil McGraw. Turns out he wrote several books, but that's probably his best because step by step, chapter by chapter, he goes through and with some detailed exercises that you are to do, and you'll need an accompanying notebook to write down the various aspects of your life from childhood till now. And I first was exposed to the book back in 2020 in a mastermind coaching program that I was in. And as we were doing, we had a book of the month every month. And the month that we did this, and every Monday we would report in on a Zoom call things that were going on. And then there was always a preliminary book review before we got to the end of the month. And I always had to say, wow, has this been enlightening, but also has this been somewhat painful for me? So it's a book that I highly recommend, but it's not an easy read because it's not a read, it's a read and do, because practically every chapter in the book, there's an assignment that you do to analyze you. And I don't know who said it. I was thinking about this as I was getting ready for the live today. I think there's a saying that an unexamined life is not worth living. And I don't remember who will get credit for that quote, but I have to agree, because until this past year, when I had to get real in depth with some growth and some changes that I had to make in my personal life, my personality, and some character flaws that I had and experienced, I've had to grow. It's not been easy. It's been somewhat painful at times, but I feel like for the first time in my 70 years on earth, I now have peace. And I now know that I can accomplish anything I want without stress. I mean, there'll be stressful times. I know that that's just part of life, but I can get there because I know how to handle it emotionally. And that's one of my downfalls. Prior to this past year, I did so many things and made so many decisions emotionally and did not think them through. So now I'm going to do that a whole lot better. And I wish you the same as you do your own self-reflection. So secondly, I want to advise everyone to have clarity. Clarity is such an important step in all of our lives. And clarity means different things to different people. So I want to share a few book titles that I think will help everyone define your clarity. One of the best ones is highly recommended on the I'm trying to think of the lady's name. They used to have a book club, Oprah Winfrey's book club, and she actually had Viola on her show. And a wonderful, wonderful book called Finding Me by Viola Davis. So I recommend that book. Another good book for helping with clarity is The Little Book of Clarity by Jamie Smart. And if you just type in the word or go to Google and say books on clarity, there must be hundreds of them. And you read a little bit of the description of the book, and that might be the one that will mesh with you and your mindset and your psyche. But another one I can recommend is Finding Clarity by Mark Lesser. And then a highly rated, not read it yet, but I'm going to order it, is The Art of Letting Go by Nick Trenton. And he has a subtitle that includes several categories. And the one that got me is Stop the Negative Spirals. A small little thing can add up into a large thing. I mean, and become a mountainous thing because of the negativity and that spiral. And the reason I know I'm growing is one of the things my wife and I had to let go that was just a pure annoyance was the garage door opener here in our home in Florida. The thing stopped working about a month ago, and I spent some money getting a new control board, which is basically the brain that controls the garage going up and down with the lever and the chain. And that had become an amazing annoyance and negative spiral. So yesterday, the garage door completely stopped going up and down. We would hit the button, and it would go about 3 inches and then right back up, 3 inches and right back up. And I'm telling you, in the past, after spending the money I did, not only to buy the part and to pay the person to come and install the part, I could have been extremely angry, not only at myself, but at them and all that. But I stayed calm. I called the parts people back and I said, I know you recommended a more advanced part for me, but it was a little more money. Can I return this one and get that one? And they said, yes, which was surprising to me. I was happy to hear that. But they also said, call this 800 number and they will talk you through it on how to adjust or fix your garage door opener. And in 15 minutes, an amazing gentleman, and I think he might have been in the Philippines, so there was a little communication issue, but we got through it. And in 15 minutes, with the turn of one screw, the garage door is working. and so without going down the negative spiral and the negative thoughts, I just got it going on there. So any rate, hopefully these books will be of helpful to you, but let me just go over the list again. Finding Me by Viola Davis. Little Book of Clarity by Jamie Stewart. Finding Clarity by Mark Lesser. Hello, Dr. Knight. Pleasure to have you today. And the last one that I've not ordered, but I am going to, The Art of Letting Go by Nick Trenton. So if any of those books sound like a title that you would like to read, type a Y or a yes in the comments. Okay. Pleasure to have everyone on today. And lastly, we want to talk about navigating towards goals. I, for one, until I left my education career and started in a marketing career about 40 years ago, I had literally never written down, analyzed, thought about the steps that I must do to achieve a goal. But I was exposed to Zig Ziglar's yearly goal planning journal, which I bought in 1983. I know some of you on the call may not have even been born, or on the live may not have even been born then, but I literally went through that journal, which had me list, 100 really amazing goals. Then I had to pick the top 10 1-year goal, the top 10 3-year, 5-year, and then beyond. And then I had to come down with the top 3 to 5, step by step. And this took a process and took some time. It really did. And what's interesting is that year, not only did I meet my goals, I exceeded every single one of them, from health goals of losing some weight to financial goals and career goals of making advancements in my career that I'd written down. But every day in that goal planning journal by the Ziegler Corporation, and that book's still available. I just got mine in to start filling out for 2024 just a few days ago. Every single time that I've taken the time, and it can take 8-10 hours or more to carefully think through and write down and go through the exercises of planning your goals. But every single time I have done it, that next year, not only have I achieved every single one of my goals, but for the most part exceeding them. So it's like there was a survey done by 100 Harvard Business School graduates, and they tracked these people for 30 years. And once they got to the end of the 30-year career, only 10 of the 100 had been writing down their goals on an annual basis. 3 of the 10 were wealthy beyond their wildest imagination. 5 of them were independently wealthy, secure with their finances. But the 90 people that did not write down any goals were still working and had no prospects of stopping working, because obviously they had not planned, not only annually, but for their long-term success or life. So that's why I'm saying that for me personally, there's been 3 years in the last 10 that I did not do this exercise. And each one of those 3 years, I did not hit my goals, or the ones that I imagined I wanted. But until you write it down, get some clarity on it. But don't do a goal just because someone else did. Do it for you. Think about it. Ask this question: is this goal really and truly meaningful for me? It's okay to be selfish here, because unless you can identify with a goal that truly is emotional and meaningful to you, it really isn't a true goal. So, but I recommend you do that. So, but I also want to share with you an idea that James Clear has in one of his newsletters. And James Clear is the author of an amazing book that I read this year called Atomic Habits. If people that are watching with us today have read Atomic Habits, put yes or a Y in the comments below. And if you have not, I highly recommend it. But James Clear has a newsletter, and I put up his link for his newsletter you can sign up for, and he does it, I know, once a week, but it's an amazing newsletter. And he talks about maybe not having stringent goals, but having some insights. And here's what I mean by that. He said you can have a goal to clean up your workspace, and that's nice. You can do that probably in a few hours. But then if you go back to the same old piling on of junk and piling on of files and papers and let that accumulate again, then is that really a worthwhile goal to work on? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yes. So Dr. Knight, I know I was with you. I read the book, about 3 chapters of it, and then one of my business associates just had an amazing transformation, not only in their personal life, but in their business. And they said they credited the fact that I'd recommended the book. So once I got that testimonial from my associate named Bob, I went on and read the rest of the book, and it is powerful. It is so powerful, the little atomic habits. And that's why I called the book Atomic Habits, because they're tiny, tiny little things that we do, and they compound to create massive results. So if you are not the strict, pure goal setter, like I'm traditionally, that's really what I like to do, is to set 100 goals and pick out the top 3 or 5 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, or longer goals. That's what I call pure goal setter. If you're not, you might want to go to jamesclear.com/goals-systems, and he's got some insights that go a little bit beyond goals that are not traditional, which I like. But the other thing I want to recommend you do is just Google goal setting systems. The one that I love the best is the Zig Ziglar Yearly Success Planner. It's around $30, but it's a nice journal. It's a calendar, and you have plenty of room in the back to take notes or journal. But it's clear that each day you write down what you've done and what you've accomplished towards each individual goal. It's really amazing. Keeps you on track, keeps you focused, because you're looking at it in the morning, and then you have to go back and score yourself in the evening. I'm also participating in a coaching program right now where the activities for business, I'm having to put down in a daily activity tracker. I put a check mark by, did I compliment someone on a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post or whatever. So any rate, just find one that you're comfortable with and use it, because it will certainly make a difference. It will certainly make a difference. And yes, Dr. Grant, or Dr. Knight, I agree with you that all of these things are amazing. Look at that. Yes, if you can change 1% every day, you can become 37 times better by the end of the year. And yes, that's one of the famous things that he says in there. So thank you for sharing that with everyone. That's powerful, very powerful. So it's been a pleasure to pop on and share with you, everyone. And I know we're winding down just a few more days of this 2023, and there's things that we all want to leave behind and move forward with a fruitful, prosperous, and glorious 2024. So if there are any other comments that anyone would like to share, please pop them in, and we'll go from there. So I'd love any more feedback that anyone would like to share. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for popping on. And if you'd like to reach out to me, you can go to my website, mikebeverly.life. And while you're there, there's some incredible blogs, several recently about hydration. And so many people go, I don't have to worry about hydration. It's wintertime now, or it's fall. Well, the exact opposite is true. Even though you're not sweating as much, if you're exercising outside or in the gym, hydration is just as important right now as it is in those hot summer months. So read a blog or two, go to the podcast tab. There's some incredible podcasts there by some incredible folks. And Dr. Knight, I'd like for you to reach out. Let's schedule some time to chat. I'd like for you to consider being a guest on my podcast soon. So if you're interested in doing that, pop on, schedule some time for us to chat, and we'll see if we can't make that happen for you to be one of the upcoming guests on the Health and Biz Bites podcast. So everyone, hopefully this has been informative and insightful for you. And I want to wish everyone a happy new year, and take some time to reflect right now before we start that new 2024. And I'll look forward to seeing you again on one of my Wellness Corner lives every Wednesday, even next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Take care, please.